Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was Justice League's Fire Shadow. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. In Los Angeles, Naruto was currently wearing his full Hokage garb along with his mask, as he moved over to keep any eye on the convoy that he knew that Selena was watching over. While he was not all that sold on the idea of LA being his city, he decided not to make much of the deal for now. So far no one had decided to drop by and make things difficult for him and Selena, but until the big predatory cats left the city, then he had to keep his word. Besides, as far as he could feel using senjutsu, there were not that many crimes that were happening all over the city that demanded his attention. The police was able to handle the worst of it, so he had little reason to come in and help them. The concern he had for now was to help Selena in keeping the cat safe until they left LA. As he moved along with the convoy, he also made sure to keep his eyes and ears open. He sensed that Selena was there in the group, and he was happy that at the very least she was not making any moves that would indicate to him that she was breaking her word to him. That was a nice thing, since the last thing he wanted was to get into a fight with a drop-dead gorgeous woman who he might or might not have the hots for. As he followed the convoy, he made sure to try and keep an eye on the police radio. He had spent some time learning all of this technology stuff, and he was pleased to find a way to hack into a security system, namely the kind used by the police. He used his Kage Bunshin to learn how to do the whole hacking thing properly, and now he could keep track of things. That and reading maps of the city certainly helped, and in his right ear was the radio he learned on how to build from parts he bought with his money. For now it seemed that the police had the city covered, so he did not have to worry all that much just yet. He also was pleased to know that the police had everything under their control, though he knew of course that there were places that were too dangerous, where only the best cops were sent. He had not gone there directly yet, but he was ready to go there when he had to do so. As he watched the convoy, Kurama decided to speak to him. Looks like our cat-loving guest is keeping true to her word, huh partner? Looks that way, and for that I am thankful. That convoy should be out of the city soon, and that is going to be nice for you and me. Maybe, but at the moment I have no doubt we're going to have company of our own soon enough. Naruto mentally nodded as he followed the convoy, while keeping an ear open on the latest news coming in from the radio he had in his ear. The technology here was good, and in some ways, it was a lot better than some of the technology that he had seen back home. He sensed that there was no danger to the convoy right about now, as he carried on with the convoy escorting job. All the while using his senjutsu to locate Selena and make sure that she was not making any moves that could be considered dangerous. The good news for him was that Selena Kyle was true to her word, and kept herself from causing trouble, and so far, none of the police reported that she had gone rogue on him. And right now it seemed that no one was doing anything that would be considered an attack on the cats themselves. Hours later, Naruto was on top of a nearby tower, and was currently enjoying a good deal of ramen that he bought from the very same ramen shop that he worked in before. He naturally used his henge as he was still in costume, and when he paid for his ramen, and here he was. The food was good and helped him relax as he looked over the city, while sticking himself to the wall of the high-rise building with his chakra. Most people would have been scared out of their wits at seeing him like this, and eating ramen no less, but the height prevented him from being spotted easily. And with his use of chakra, he had no problems keeping himself on the side of the building sitting down. The cooler air up here was alright, but it was also a bit of a challenge not to spill any of the ramen for him. But he liked challenges, so there was no reason for him to change his mind. He sorely missed Tucci and Aim's cooking styles, but he did not mind it as he was able to enjoy eating ramen. Selena had met up with him earlier, and she was happy that no one had tried to harm the tigers, and she was happy that he had kept his word to her. This was a good thing in Naruto's mind, since she had not tried to rob anyone here in LA, since this would have been a bit of a problem. The blonde thief and animal activist kissed him on the lips before she left, and he knew that she did not rob him at all when she did that. And soon he moved out to go grab something to eat for all the time she spent watching the tigers, hence he was here eating. As soon as he was done eating, he collected the bowls and placed them away into his scroll to take them back to the shop and head back to duty. Moving down to the lowest level of the building he was on, he used his kunai with the metal string to begin moving to the shop. Leaping with the use of only the slightest of his chakra to the buildings further away and running on the walls without problems until he arrived at the ship. Like before, he dropped down into the shadows of the alleys, made sure that he was alone, used his henge, and came back in the same disguise he used to purchase the ramen and give the bowls back before leaving. Once clear, he dropped his henge and climbed back to the buildings, moving about to sense the city's people and watching out for possible danger. After doing a sweep and being aided by his Kage Bunshin to scan the city, finding not too many dangers and events, he decided to tap into the communication system device handed to him by Batman, in order to keep himself up to date on what else the other members of the League were doing. But as he did so to call Superman, he was quick to notice that the Kryptonian apparently was not alone. Yes? Superman, why do I hear explosions out in the background? Just what the heck is going on over there? Long story short, Hokage, several machines are here for John, and they don't seem to want to talk. Naruto heard a clang, and that was followed by the sound of something akin to someone punching metal, knew that it meant that Superman high whatever it was attacking him. He had no idea what was going on, but decided not to waste time in getting answers from the man via communications. Superman, you still have that kunai I gave you? Yeah. Good. Toss that kunai to the ground, I am on my way now. And sure enough, Naruto used the Hirasen jutsu of his father to home in on the kunai that he had given Superman, and he quickly found himself in what looked like a warzone. The blonde. Naruto dodged the incoming weapon's fire and looked at the flying man who was made out of metal before him. It acted like that Metallo guy he fought with before in Metropolis when he was still not part of the League. But unlike the metallic wise ass he fought with before, this one was about as talkative as Batman, and was less concerned with the massive property damage that he was unleashing. He quickly took some of his shuriken and imbued them with his wind chakra, and tossed the weapons at the one he was fighting. Apparently the machine being did not think that the weapons were effective, and made no attempt to block them. That however was a mistake, as the chakra-enhanced weapons did hit with considerable force, due to the potent energy Naruto used, and they also cut into the metal. The cuts were not by much, but they were enough to convince the machine-like being that he was not someone who could be ignored. He quickly took out one of his swords, and quickly channeled his chakra, and then focused his wind chakra into the blade and attacked, unleashing a blast of chakra at the machine. The machine being dodged the first attack, but Naruto expected that, and had fired out one of his father Minato's signature tri-blade kunai, and used the Hirshin to come in close, while in Senjutsu mode, and landed a haymaker of a punch into the face of the machine. The blow sent it flying back a ways before Naruto would made several hand seals and unleashed his next jutsu. That move was done at the same time that the other members of the League were ready to fight back. But just as the attacking heroes and the newfound machine enemies, someone decided to get involved. And it was none other than Green Lantern John Stewart himself, but instead of helping fight the new rivals who came for him, he actually stopped the others and surrendered himself to them. This confused the hell out of the others, even more so for Naruto. In the watchtower. As the rest of the League came to the tower, with him using a Hirshin jutsu to enter the place and them using the javelin to get up there, they decided that now was the right time to find out what was going on. However, it was here that Batman brought to their attention that they could not just pack up and leave Earth alone. If their rogues found out that they were not around, then there was going to be no telling just what was going to happen. Naruto thought about it greatly and wondered if he should go with the team to help free Lantern from him being accused of a crime he did not commit. But on the other hand, there was no telling what could happen if he went with them. The only ones who could not go were Wonder Woman, and obviously Batman, since that would leave Earth defenseless as well as leave Gotham alone. Kurama also spoke to him, and the nine-tailed fox sensed that John did have a great deal of guilt over something. Still both he and Kurama doubted that the Green Lantern was a criminal. They did not know the Green Lantern Corps all that well, but if what they learned about them was true. The idea of them taking a criminal into their ranks was about as likely as Orochimaru turning over a new leaf and ending his love for power. The snake summoning bastard was no longer alive, he and Kurama made damn sure of that, but the lessons he learned when it came to dealing with him was still there, along with getting rid of Madara and Obito. John struck Naruto as a good man at heart. Despite his stick stuck up my ass's attitude, he was honest about his thoughts, and there was no question about his sense of responsibility. And not to mention that as far as he sensed, he was also dedicated to protecting others, similar to a cop which he was in the galactic sense and being a marine as well. Still, the guy went willingly with the Manhunters, so there must be something going on here that he was not seeing. But would he risk leaving Earth alone, while all the heavy hitters of their team were out and off to another part of the galaxy? After a moment or two, he decided to stay behind. Sorry Superman, but with you guys leaving Earth behind, this leaves the League short-handed. We're going to have to find others who can help pick up the slack, until you guys get back here after freeing Lantern. Plus even if I don't have a rogues gallery as you guys, I don't like the idea of leaving LA alone. It's got enough problems as it is, and the last thing it needs are some super-powered villains taking root while I wasn't looking. Superman nodded in agreement as he knew that they had to have some backup to help keep the world safe until they got back. If word got out that he left, then the villains he dealt with on a regular basis in Metropolis, especially Luthor, would not hesitate to make their move. Still Kara and Irons were there to help, but they would need to be helped out in helping to keep the peace. But moving back and forth in different corners of the world would be tough on them, and the last thing he wanted was for Kara to wear herself down and become as stressed out as he was. There was also the fact that there was no telling what other dangers might appear, and even if Wonder Woman was here and Batman, they were still going to need help, so having Naruto back on Earth was a good idea, plus there could be others who they could contact in order to help keep Earth safe. Good point there Hokage, we'll go ahead and see if we can't clear out John's name. I might not have dealt with the lanterns long, but I know that they only got those who truly have what it takes to be members in the Corps. And soon with the plans drawn out, the only members of the League left behind were none other than Batman, Wonder Woman, and Naruto as Batman turned to face them both. He knew that he had a lot of work to do, and that was not just in his city, but possibly elsewhere. He would call on Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin to help out, as well as ask some of his other known hero associates for help to handle the workload. He then spoke directly to Naruto, and while he was now aware that Naruto was more mature than he actually looked, he spoke sternly. If anything happens that can have consequences for the Earth, contact us quickly. I will. In LA. It was near nighttime when Naruto got back to LA, and he felt his injuries begin to heal. Normally he would have gone home, but he decided to go and do one last scan of the city. Namely in the more affluent sector of the city he was unofficially protecting. However, as he summoned Kurama's chakra to sense the flow of the other humans in the area, he was quick to sense that something was amiss. Several chakra signatures suddenly disappeared and were now too weak to be sensed, had it not been for his sage mode. He tracked it down and soon located the source, apparently in the financial district of LA. Something was going down. And no, it was not the legal kind. The very second he slid into the room in the high-rise building where the signatures had been faint earlier, he was greeted by something that he had not expected. Shuriken. The blonde shinobi ducked down as the shuriken came at him and tried to cut into his head. He leaped back afterwards, as Tsukiri attacked with her katana, with the obvious intent on cutting off his head. Naruto however was not going to let that happen without a fight, as he blocked the attack with his armored left arm. The armor he had on gave him the moment to grab his own sword, and quickly forced the female fighter away from him, as he lashed out with his sword in a reverse grip. Naruto only saw the sight of the stunned and badly hurt guards out of the corner of his eye, to now realize that they were the chakra signatures he sensed earlier. Both fighters soon faced one another as Tsukiri spoke once more to the blonde shinobi, who was still holding his sword in a reverse grip. You fight like a real ninja. Naruto gave a snort at that statement. That's supposed to be compliment, lady. Who are you and why are you here? The name's Tsukiri, and I am here for some of the items in that safe. Now step aside. The Asian assassin tossed a pair of kunai at him, and Naruto quickly moved aside and ducked to land a rising kick into Tsukiri's sternum, to send her back flying, as she flipped and landed on her feet. But as she landed she gave a barely audible grunt of pain at being hit by the blonde shinobi. That did not mean however that his blow had not given her a good deal of pain in reality. For a guy who looks like a teen or early adult, this guy can hit. But Tsukiri was not the kind of quit when she was on a job. Oh no, she was not. Biting back the pain, she quickly got into her selection of weapons, and threw out a number of kunai at the man. Sure, the steel used for those cost her some serious bundles of cash, but right now, short-term loss did not matter when long-term gain was more important. Said long-term gain was to naturally end the blonde ninja before he became a real problem. Naruto turned to see the kunai embed themselves on the nearby wall, and it was enough to tell him that her armor was good, since the steel was well made, and certainly not the cheap imitation stuff he'd seen. The blonde turned and blocked another set of shuriken, and then moved away as she threw a kunai at him. Only for him to catch it the same way Kakashi had caught those shuriken all those years ago, back when he was still the rough and tumble kid he was back in Konoha. He might not be able to do all the things his beloved sensei did in the time he was alive, but he did learn enough. The action he made did catch the female villain's eye, and that convinced Naruto to pour it on. He was not going to use his jutsu yet since while he could feel that the woman had some good levels of chakra, he could also see that she was not able to do jutsu the way he could, so no sense for him to reveal his jutsu to Tsukiri. That further convinced him that not many used chakra the way his people did even if they had it. He quickly got the shuriken tossed at him in hand, and quickly fired them back at their former owner. Tsukiri actually moved forward and then flipped over the shuriken, and soon they traded sword blows with one another. Naruto moved back and forth, studying the way Tsukiri moved, aware that she could very well be doing the very same thing he was doing right now. He could not help but wonder how she would stake up to Kunoichi, who were kenjutsu experts like Izuki Yugao and several others in the past. But he ignored that and soon charged at her. Tsukiri soon flipped over her, thinking no doubt that he was getting careless. In reality she was the one who made the careless move. As soon as she landed, Naruto quickly yanked the near-invisible metal wire that he had actually laid on the ground earlier. The wire soon wrapped around Tsukiri's leg, and he was able to yank her to the ground, and he leaped over her and then over a nearby beam, and used it to act as a support and lift the female ninja up into the air. I don't think that I will do what you asked. But I will ask what you are after in that safe earlier. I doubt that it's just money alone. Why should I tell you? Up to you, but if you don't, I'll just do this the hard way. The female ninja snorted, and Naruto quickly decided to stun her by landing a lightning chakra-covered fist into her face. Not enough to kill her or anything, and the lightning chakra was set on a very low level, but the sight of him with a lightning-covered fist really caught the woman off guard before he sent her to Lolaland. As soon as she was out of commission, Naruto checked her for breathing and a pulse. Once he was sure that she was actually out cold and not off to death's door, he decided to try using Kurama's chakra to connect to her own chakra network and right into her brain. It was similar to the technique used by the Yamanaka clan's signature jutsu, but did not match the same ability. He soon learned what he needed from the now unconscious woman, so he checked to make sure that she was still out cold. Once assured that she was out cold, he looked for some heavy-duty fire hose and a cable of metal. Even if he did disarm her of any weapons, better not to take chances and make sure she'd have to work for her freedom if she wanted to escape. Once she found some steel wire nearby, she tied her up with the fire hose first, and then used the metal cable to restrain her arms and legs. Then assured that she was not looking, he quickly used a fire jutsu to melt the ends of the steel cable he twisted into a lump of slag, double sure that she was not going to have an easy time escaping. Once he was done securing the female ninja, he moved to healing the guards of their injuries. He used his medical training to scan them and begin to treat their injuries. Most had concussions. The blonde shinobi quickly took out his cell phone and dialed 911 and called the cops. 2 days later, Naruto moved through Los Angeles 2 days later, and he was hoping that he was going to get something of a break. Dealing with the bunch that hired Sukiri did not take too long, and at least he managed to bring them to prison without much trouble. Not to mention that he had been able to get all the records he needed to send this bunch down to the slammer. Though he did wonder just how much they gave Sukiri to come here in Los Angeles of all places, since this was a city that did not have too much to be attractive to the bad guys. The cops were surprised to find him handing them Sukiri, since technically villains of her caliber did not come here to LA all the time. That hopefully was not going to become some form of trend that he personally had no time for anything like it. As he did so, he wondered just how John's trial ended back there in space. He personally hoped that the man, despite being in his view, having a stick up his ass, was freed. He had heard from Diana that she had been able to stop some people who had attempted to rob a bank in the city of San Francisco, while Batman had enlisted the aid of his old team and had managed to deal with Killer Croc after the mutant supervillain managed to escape from them. The blonde winced at the memory of that crazed maniac, who reminded a bit too much of Kasame with the bloodlusting nature he had. Good thing that he did not have something similar to Samehada, or that would have really freaked him out. He had gone there after the incident a day ago to help heal the injuries. Sure, Bruce was not too sold on it at first, since he was not too sure about what it might do to him and the others, but after he healed their wounds, he agreed that having Naruto help was alright. Though he could have sworn that Batgirl actually moaned a bit at his use of chakra to heal her, it was a half moan to be sure, since she clamped her mouth shut before she completed it, but it was a moan. He wondered how the Red was handling it, since both Robin and Nightwing had been teasing her about it non-stop. He did find Batgirl attractive as hell, but decided not to press the issue, and merely wished her the best when he was done. However, all of his thoughts on the matter went out the window when he sensed something coming. He looked up from the wall of the building he was currently standing on to see what appeared to be a comet of sorts. He looked carefully at it and then stretched out with a bit of Kurama's chakra as well as his senjutsu, and was shocked by what he felt. Damn, that is some serious chakra I am sensing. There's no way whatever it is that is coming down here is some hunk of space rock. No kidding, whatever it is or whoever it is in that flying hunk of rock has a good deal of chakra in him or her, so let's be careful. That's the first time you told me to be careful, Kurama. You rather be dead. Naruto shook his head at hat, and quickly began to track the object, and he could sense that a lot of people were also looking. He did not need to look down where he was to see that everyone was looking at the incoming fiery mess. With that in mind, he quickly moved to where it was heading. Already from the special bug he had on the police communications network, the police were beating feet to that location, along with SWAT. He had to hurry there, however, as whoever or whatever had that big a chakra signature and could survive a trip through space like that was anything but human. And if the incoming thing or being was hostile, he was going to have to do his best to restrain it. As soon as he made it to where the fiery mess would land, it landed with explosive results as he set foot on the ground. The police were still a good distance away, which to him was a good thing, since if the new arrival was like those Imperium, and they were in trouble. Naruto used his chakra to hold himself into the ground, and began to run through the shockwave, while using his chakra to create a chakra envelope to protect him. The smoke was there and he moved in, but as he came closer, his Hon ninja sense suddenly began to go off, and he quickly leaped back as a wall near to his left in the area was suddenly smashed hard. The chakra signature he sensed was now on the move, and also was now right in front of him. He tensed himself as the dust from the destroyed wall began to settle down, to give him a better view on who the new arrival was. And he did not have to wait long, but he got quite the surprise when the dust cleared out. Naruto took a good look at the new arrival, who had just smashed her way into the nearby city block, which thankfully was not filled with people, since it was supposed to be demolished, so no bystanders at large. And what he saw was definitely new to him. The figure was definitely humanoid, and judging by frame, body build and bust, was female. And damn, what a form. He was not joking in the slightest either. Sure, he had seen his fair share of very attractive women back home and here. His boss, Diana, Pamela, Selena, and Shayera, to name a few of said women. But this new arrival was definitely blessed with the body and the looks to go with it. Her eyes were deep green, literally, and they seemed to be glowing green fire, and her hair would be best described as fire's star red in color. Her skin was orange if one could believe it, and a very nice hue of orange to boot, and Naruto could not help but stare as the idea of someone having his favorite color as her skin tone was pretty darn new, even more so when one took to account her choice of outfit. It was purple and was more like clasps of clothing that covered on the essential bits, but allowed the alien woman's lush curves, swells, and more to be shown. The muscles she had hardly detracted her beauty at all, instead showed her power and strength, as well as her smoking gorgeous looks. She had thigh-high boots of the same purple color, and had forearm guards as well with some gems on the neck area. Think of Starfire's original comics outfit. Sure, the new version might be a lot more appealing, but I can use the new one for later. One thing was for sure, if she wanted to get attention from men and women of that particular orientation, then she already had the edge in spades. It took a tremendous effort for him to focus on the more serious aspect of her arrival. The woman apparently was wearing some form of handcuffs that he could easily tell were not the human-made kind, but the kind that one normally used to restrain very powerful foes, since it reached all the way to her elbows. But on the first glance, the woman hardly looked the kind to be dangerous, with the exception of being dangerously good-looking. However, Naruto was no fool and knew that just because a woman had the looks of an angel or goddess, that did not mean that she was a good person, and that she was harmless. Naruto's caution was warranted when the woman looked at him with obviously angry eyes. She snarled at him and began speaking in a language that he could not make heads or tails of. But the very second she raised the restraints on her in a move that he knew was an attack, he understood that and quickly flipped back as she smacked the ground hard with enough force to cause a crater. Whoa. She's as strong as Superman or Tsunade Obasan. But whatever those things are made of, they at least make her less likely to move around. Naruto quickly got into combat mode and drew his sword from his back. That was a move to ready himself for any attack the woman might throw at him. That however seemed to make the woman all the more annoyed as she began to speak in another language that he could not understand. I cannot understand you. The language barrier between him and the new arrival was making it hard for him to figure out who she was, but it also made her less than amused as she moved to smash him into the ground. Naruto quickly channeled his chakra into his sword and used it to block the attack coming in to reduce his skull and head into a mess. Clang. The blow was tough, and Naruto felt the ground literally crack from the blow, showing that his estimation of her strength was pretty accurate. The good news was that through his training as well as his experiences, made him tougher than the usual, along with Kurama's healing powers, his Uzumaki lineage, and Senjutsu training. But that blow sent shivers of pain through his legs anyway. But he quickly powered up with Senjutsu of his own, and quickly pushed the woman off of him, and then tried to get a feel of his newfound foe. He sensed that she seriously had a lot of chakra, and her fluctuating emotions seemed to have some form of boosting effect on them. Ninja scholars and even his own friends back in the academy suspected that emotions at times boosted chakra power, though it could also reverse it due to loss of concentration. So whatever was powering this girl was definitely stronger than normal. She attacked again, still shouting in a language Naruto had difficulty making heads or tails of. He however was not going to let him strike him twice. He moved away from the blow and launched out a powerful wind chakra attack to hit her to slow her down. But she moved at the exact moment, and the attack he unleashed struck her restraints. That was not enough to destroy them to be sure, but the blow itself had an effect on the manacles, namely near the hands. The woman screamed out again, and to Naruto's surprise, there was a massive glow of green there, and the damaged part of her manacles suddenly broke off. That freed her hands, and also allowed her to start tossing glowing green bolts of energy at him. You have got to be kidding. Naruto had no time to continue his words as he dodged an hour-long stream of energy spheres that worked in the same way as bombs or explosive tags. Already the entire area around him was being leveled by this woman. He was happy that at least there was no one here, and at least the whole area was pretty much going to be condemned anyway. As she wrecked even more of the place, he decided that now was the time to step things up. But then as he tapped into Kurama's chakra for a boost, his sudden transformation into a being of pure fire, or so he looked, stopped the woman, and she looked at him briefly. Naruto had no idea what was the reason there, but as he focused his chakra on her, he noted that instead of being angry or having killer intent towards him, the girl seemed scared. Scared? What the heck is going on here? Naruto's confusion lasted only briefly as he realized that he was sensing other emotions as well, pain, confusion, and anger. Plus he was also sensing that she was merely reacting in self-defense before him. This was a risk, but he trusted his ability to sense negative emotions due to Kurama's chakra cloak, and could tell that this girl was not evil. He placed his sword back into his sheath and tried to show that he meant no harm to her. It seemed to be working as the alien woman was not either charging at him or powering up another one of those energy bolts. That was a good sign to Naruto, as he felt that removing those manacles might be a good way to build bridges between him and the alien woman. He thought it over on what to use, and then summoned up a bit of Seiken's chakra to allow him to use briefly the Slug Bijuu's chakra type. The blonde shinobi, still in his chakra cloak, moved towards her and then did several seals. The woman was confused by this, but being near Naruto's cloak, which was pure yang chakra, seemed to have a calming effect on her. That was definitely a good thing, as he completed the move and began to blow at the manacles. But instead of air, he was releasing a fine mist of corrosive alkaline liquid that was reinforced by chakra, and it seemed to work on the manacles as they began to smoke and break down. He then channeled some of his chakra, and then gently began to hit the manacles, and soon freed the young woman's arms. He had only released enough of the acid to destroy the manacles and not harm her, and was pleased to know that Seiken's acid did the trick at this point, without harming the woman accidentally. The woman looked at the manacles and then to Naruto. He decided to try using gestures instead of words, since the language of gestures just might work here, until he figured out what to say to the woman. He gestured to the ruined manacles, placed his hands together and then parted them, hoping to impart that the manacles were weaker now, and she could free herself. The woman got it and then pulled her arms apart, and freed herself from the weakened manacles, and she seemed to be rather relieved to be free. Naruto gave a sigh of relief and was even more relieved to sense that the woman was losing her negative emotions from before. Being freed seemed to have a very calming effect on her, and for that he was grateful. He was also pleased that at least she had shown no more hostile intent towards him, and he finally tried to speak with gestures, but decided to first reveal himself since he was wearing his mask after all. As soon as he revealed his face, the woman seemed to lose more of her caution, and began to look at him with curiosity, and followed his movements with intensity. The blonde shinobi could not help but stare in amusement at the whole thing, and he soon spoke to the woman. "Okay, listen, can you find some way to learn how to speak English or my language?" The woman cocked her head to the side in the universal gesture that translated to "I do not understand you." This made Naruto shake his head once more, and he spoke to himself in English. Of all the things to happen to me in the span of 2 days, this was certainly not on the list of what could happen. There has got to be a way for both of us to learn how to communicate. He then noted that the woman was pointing to her lips, and then to his own apparently. That raised his eyebrow and he wondered just what she was trying to tell him. Anything Naruto was about to say was cut short when the undeniably gorgeous orange-skinned, red-haired, and literally green-eyed alien woman gave him a French kiss. Now Naruto was not the least bit sheltered when it came to the ladies, having been married more than once, and all that, but this was something he was not expecting on a first meeting, since being kissed like this by a hot alien woman was not part of his experiences. However, he did notice something odd, as a portion of his chakra was taken by the kiss made by the woman herself. That alarmed Naruto, as it reminded him of the time that Raditz Kunoichi, with the tendency to suck the chakra out of people via kiss, grabbed him. Thankfully, the second that Kunoichi, if he recalled her name right, made the mistake on drawing in Kurama's still hatred-infused chakra, and thus had to release him. This woman was doing the same thing, only difference was that he sensed no lethal intent just yet. And the chakra that was taken was actually very little from him, so was not in the least bit life-threatening. The kiss lasted for a moment or two more before the woman or whatever she was finally released him, and he looked at her with wide eyes, and spoke in his trademark language. "Whoa, what the heck was that for? I normally don't mind kissing a drop-dead gorgeous lady or being kissed by said lady, but being kissed by someone who tried to flatten me with her bare hands is not that normal." The red-haired, green-eyed, and orange-skinned woman tilted her head to the side a bit in an expression of confusion, and spoke to him in Japanese. "Oh, I apologize for that. It is the way we of Tamaranian descent learn languages. I could not understand you, and I apologize for what happened earlier." Naruto raised an eyebrow. Draining one's life force with a kiss was not that new to him, but kissing someone to learn a language, that was a new one. Any other discussion was cut short, however, when he heard a number of police sirens coming in, and with that in mind, he stood up and spoke to the now freed alien woman. "Look, now is not the time for this to continue, so can we move somewhere else?" Naruto was relieved that the woman was willing to listen to him, and soon he moved further away from the area, but as he was moving from building to building using his chakra, he saw that the woman was actually flying. And to his greater surprise, the woman's hair at the back was actually turning into fire. That only reinforced his desire to find out what he could concerning the woman who was now with him. "Okay, I definitely need to get some answers here. Hold up, who are you anyway?" "Oh, my name is Coriandra, or if you wish you can call me Starfire." "Okay, Starfire, I can work with that for now. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." Later, Naruto and his newfound acquaintance were now in the mountains outside of LA, and he was happy for that, though they were still a fair distance from his home. This way they did not end up causing more damage than the city was willing to take anymore, especially after that rather disastrous first meeting. And after what he had seen, he had to admit that the name certainly fits, though he was doing his best not to stare at Starfire's choice of attire. And here Starfire finally told him of what exactly happened to her. She told him of who her people were and what exactly was the source of her powers. She also explained that she was a member of the royal family of her homeland. Learning about her people was interesting, and he could not help but notice how animated she became after she began to talk about her home planet. He listened carefully and raised an eyebrow at some of their cultural practices, and then he asked a question on what she was doing here on Earth of all places. He naturally explained the world she was on to her, and when it was over, he repeated the question to her. She was silent for a while longer, and even from here Naruto could sense that she was not in the best of moods about that line of discussion. A more serious part of him wanted to get as much information as he could from her right now on the off chance she was going to be followed. But that was balanced by his empathy as he felt that she had her reasons. He did not have to wait long for her answers to his question when she began to fill him on what happened to her people. Namely due to the wars her people dealt with. Even with their desire for peace, her people had to fight and they did that, but suffered badly. It was also when she reluctantly told him of her father's decision and her sister's actions, namely her betrayal of her family and people, all because of her unique flaw. Needless to say, the idea of the woman being subjected to such treatment for 6 years by sadistic scientists, and worse beings all because her sister had one serious blood rivalry with her pissed Naruto off a lot. He asked for more details gently, and was actually angered by the fact that Starfire had been abused and raped more than once. The fact that instead of punishing the bastard for trying to defile her sibling despite their history at some point when Coriander fought back, Starfire's sister actually punished her for resisting her rapist this time around. Naruto's anger was getting more intense at this, and he could feel Kurama's chakra reacting. Apparently even the Bidjuru, who was his longtime partner, found the whole series of circumstances disgusting and abhorrent to him. Starfire later explained how she had tried to free herself and her sister from their latest captor, and how her sister acted after she freed her even after all she had done. She then explained that after this, she had managed to escape and destroy the tracking device on her manacles, so she was not going to be easily found by her trackers. All she wanted right now was to rest and recuperate before finding some way to avoid those chasing her. Naruto calmed himself and began to think on what he should sow with Starfire. It was obvious that despite their rather violent first meeting, Starfire was not the enemy here. In fact, she was more the victim, and he could sense through Kurama's chakra and through Senjutsu that she was telling him the truth on her current situation. And that is how I came here, and how you freed me from my manacles, friend Naruto. I apologize for everything. My life in the hands of my jailers has left me very much on edge. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that and spoke to her seriously while crossing his hands on his chest. You're awfully quick to trust me on the get-go. Get-go? Naruto shook his head and replied. Sorry, figure of speech, human figure of speech. It means instantly. And in this case, I have to ask, why are you so willing to trust me when we just met? Starfire threw it over and after some time replied. I do not sense any malice in you towards me when I was able to sense that power you had used before, that made you be covered in fire. And even though I do not know fully why, there is something about you that tells me that you are a person I can feel safe with. And you are sincere in freeing me and trying to communicate to me without hostile intent. Had I not sensed any of this when I learned your language and when you freed me from the manacles despite our first meeting, I would have fought with you to the death. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that as he could see she meant it all and replied. Fair enough, though I am still not too sure about this whole trust the first guy you kissed routine. Coriander could not help but be a bit amused at Naruto as she looked at him. There was something about him that was truly different. There was a power in him that burned deeply in every part of him, even more so when he used that fiery aura thought actually made him look beautiful, and that was interesting to the newly liberated Tamaranian. She was very much unused to Earth culture and customs, since none of her people had any record of this world. Naruto then spoke to her once more. One thing, do you plan to go home? With that comment, Starfire's smile faded and she shook her head sadly at this. I cannot go home. What? If I go home, then the truce between my people and the Citadel is rendered null and void. And thus they will attack my people and kill more of them. As long as the truce holds, I cannot return home, and I fear that my sister will still seek me out. I will not become her slave or anyone else's anymore. And my home is light years from here. It would take far too long for me to go back, even if I wished it. I am alone here for now. The sight of the woman being this melancholy made Naruto groan in disgust at the idea of making her sad. He was always weak towards those who suffered, no doubt due to his own past. As he thought it over, he figured that until he found a solution to this problem, the best he could do was provide Starfire some form of refuge. With all her suffering, she deserved to be safe, even more so from that psychotic bitch of a sister that treated her like dirt, all because of a flaw in her own genetic code. Alright Starfire, I have an offer for you if you are willing to listen. Yes, what is that offer, friend Naruto? You obviously don't have a place to call home here, and while this place is not the home you know, I am willing to help you out. You can move into my home for the time being and stay there until we can come up with a solution to your problem, that is if you don't have a problem with that. Her response to the offer that he gave her. Coriander tackling him with a smile on her face, and her kissing him in thanks while rubbing her form on his own. As the very gorgeous alien woman shamelessly hugged him while he was on the ground and allowing him to feel her form, Naruto could not help but feel his body react to that, as well as the lip lock. He could swear that if he could manage it in the afterlife somewhere, his perverted godfather was possibly waving a banner of congratulations at him for meeting such a beautiful and obviously liberal-minded woman, who was saying thank you in both Japanese, English, and obviously Tamuranian. In heaven, Jiraiya was utterly pleased as he continued to look at Naruto, and was waving said banner at Naruto. That's my boy. As soon as he was able to extract himself reluctantly from the happy Tamuranian woman, the ninja moved to where his vehicle would be waiting for him. Since he did not have a lot of projects for his boss to work on, he had something of a few days off. So when he got to the warehouse, he got into the vehicle, though he had some difficulty convincing Starfire to ride with him in the vehicle. Once he was able to do that, he headed back to his home, and at least no one was willing to stop him. As soon as he got to his home, he made sure to lock it down and allow Starfire to see his home and see how she would take it. The Tamuranian looked the place over with a critical but happy eye, and soon spoke to him. Your home looks rather nice, friend Naruto. Naruto was happy that at least the home appealed to his newfound friend, though he was aware that as an alien, her views on aesthetics might be radically different from what he was used to. As he looked at Starfire, who was busy exploring his place of residence, he began to realize that he needed to get some decent clothing for Starfire. Though given what she told him of her people's culture and views on certain things, perhaps she might consider them too prudish. Not that I am complaining. Kurama snickered in the back of his mind and replied with amusement evident in the tone of the Biju. When it comes to drop-dead gorgeous women, you never have a reason to complain or say no to said women, though there is one little detail you are apparently forgetting, kid. That being, how exactly are you going to explain her presence to the rest of the league? Naruto grimaced at that. Kurama had raised up a very valid point, since for one, he knew that he was going to be caught by the others, harboring an obvious alien refugee. He had no doubt Flash would immediately hit on Starfire, even more so when one considered what he learned about Starfire's people in terms of culture. Learning that Tamuranians were very passionate about positive emotions, namely love, and the physical aspects of it really was something. And it was taking all of his self-control not to try anything foolish with Starfire. He shook his head at that and decided to go see if he had anything that would appeal to her, since he had no idea just what Tamuranians would eat. Thankfully, it seemed that Earthling food was very much alright with Starfire, and that made him feel happier. Though he had no doubt his food and drink bill was going to be a lot higher this time around. As soon as dinner was over, he decided to show her the room she was going to use, and she seemed to like it. And as he was about to ask her if she was going to turn in for the night, she removed her clothing right in front of him. Naruto naturally took in the sight of her like this, and already his male hormones were on the attack, but at least he kept himself focused, as Starfire merely smiled and thanked him again for allowing her to stay with him. He gave her a smile and did all he could manage to state his acceptance of her thanks, but had to control himself as she hugged him and kissed him again while naked. And he was doing his best not to jump her bones, since for one, she had been through a lot in his mind, so doing this was not the right time. It took a lot of effort for him to not only free himself and bid her a good night, but to also control himself from doing more than wishing her a good night's sleep. As soon as he closed the door, he quickly began to work on controlling himself, since despite the fact he was no prude, and already had his share of passionate times, especially with Pamela a while back and his boss, he still had to sort out the mess on what to do when the league found out about Coriander. But seeing that it was going to be late, he might as well get some shut-eye, and hope he could organize things before doing any revealing to the others. Better all of them were together to help him when the time came, so until then he was going to work on helping Kori work on getting used to being in Earth, and learning all she needed to learn, in order to adapt to the cultures here. The next day, Naruto woke up the next day to yet another busted alarm clock courtesy of his fist, and tried to get up and get breakfast going. He then checked his calendar to see that he had a free 3 days from work, which was a good thing, since he had to help get Coriander, rather Starfire, settled in. One other name he could try to use was Kori, since it was fairly human sounding. She did not mind and seemed to be pleased with her current situation. In fact, so was he, as he could not help but like the idea of having company in his place. Sure, the league came here every now and then, but he was usually on his own devices, so that did not count. As soon as he was wide awake, he got ready to cook some beef and miso soup ramen, as well as some bacon, fresh tuna sashimi, scrambled eggs, and toasted bread with jam and butter. The food thankfully was not that long to cook, and already Starfire came to him from the room. Thankfully for now she was clothed, so he was not in danger of morning wood. Not usually a concern, but right now he had other matters to deal with. Though even if she was wearing clothing, Starfire still looked smoking hot, and she only had on a t-shirt of his that, while fairly large, still hugged her frame well. Couple that with the fact she wore no underwear as he knew of, it was pretty hard not to take notice. Kori however smiled at the food and was pleased to try some once it was ready. She actually loved it and devoured her food well. It was a good thing that he knew what it was like to have a killer appetite and prepare accordingly. Once breakfast was over, he helped get some change of clothes ready for her, as well as a towel if she needed to bathe. He also told her of the shortened version he made of her real name, and she found it all right. She soon headed off to bathe, and this was a good time for Naruto to try and make sense of what he had to do for the time being with Kori, by going into the area where his plants were. However, he was so wrapped up in thought that he was unable to sense that a certain dark night was coming, until Kurama informed him. He turned and sure enough, Batman came down from his plane which was now landing via remote control to another location nearby. Great, just when I was hoping to have time. Murphy's Law partner. I swear when I find this Murphy character real or not, I am going to shove a Rasengan up his ass for this. Batman came before him and spoke. I just got word you had an object from Spaceland here in LA, and you did not report it in. I can understand Tsukiri since you dealt with her well enough, but why the silence on this one? Naruto's attempt to explain his being silent for a bit on the meteor that came to his neck of the woods was cut short when a certain female alien walked out from the house and moved next to him completely buck naked. The happy female alien had gone to take a good shower and found the water enjoyable. And she appeared to be quite pleased by the cool waters of her shower, but obviously did not bring the change of clothing, nor the towel that he had prepared earlier, since she wanted to tell him she was done. Friend Naruto, I am finished with my hello there, are you a friend of Naruto? The naked Tamaranian landed right in front of Batman and Naruto, and smiled warmly at both of them. Naruto, despite all he had been through in his life, had to resist suffering a nosebleed, as he blushed at the sight of Kori, who was utterly unconcerned by the fact that she was questioning Batman in her birthday suit. All Batman had to do was look at the obviously alien woman next to Naruto, and he knew that something was up. He looked at Naruto and in his usual tone of voice when it came to interrogation, spoke, all the while doing his level best to ignore the obviously naked alien woman who was right next to Naruto asking him who he was while being naked shamelessly in public. Never mind the fact that it was only him with the blonde shinobi right now. What the hell is going on, and who is she? Naruto had the decency at least to look a bit shamefaced, never mind the fact that he technically was old enough to be Batman's great-grandfather. All the while the alien woman was still confused on who this stranger in black was. That's a long story. Bruce resisted the urge to pinch the bridge of his nose, and knew that it was going to be a long story. Start from the beginning, and for God's sake, get her some clothes. Starfire however replied. Why do you humans always insist on me wearing clothes when you are both men? Do I look ugly to the both of you? Both men suddenly found themselves unable to come up with a decent answer to that question. However, it's here that power I sensed. The female voice came from a figure wearing a cloak, and she spoke once more as she headed in the direction of LA. I do not know what you are, but perhaps I can learn something here. Perhaps whoever wields this power can do something to help me control my own powers better. As well as that part of me. The obviously disguised woman finally spoke as shadows moved around her. Azrath Methrian Synthos. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.